Here they come, here they come.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting.
Hello and welcome to Ducks Unlimited TV. I'm Ashley Ward. We closed out this season with a fast action rewind episode. This is a producer's cut featuring the very best scenes from another great season shared with extraordinary people. Right now on DU TV.
I wish that everyone who valued duck and goose hunting could have been in that spread this morning, because it was not only a great hunting experience, but it was truly one of the greatest shows I can ever remember seeing.
Run home.
Woo!
That's what I'm talking about.
With the wind now, they are trying real hard to get into the hole.
Like what happened this morning with all them ducks and geese cutting wind up above us, responding to a call. If that don't get your blood boiling, you better go check your pulse, because something may be wrong with you. Look at them three up top, knocking it out.
I've been to Canada many times and to Alberta a number of times as well, and one thing I can't overemphasize is the incredible grace of the Canadian people. And for example, I would tell you that if you're going to be out driving around the gravel roads scouting for ducks and geese, allow yourself enough time, because there will be times when you can't get out of the kitchen.
Take them.
In Canada, we have two very critical areas for continental waterfowl population. We're sitting in the prairie pothole region. From here, about 60 to 80 miles north, we'll get into the boreal forest. The wet-dry cycle on the prairies really drives duck populations. It seems every 20, 30 years there's a drought, and then there's wet period.
We're seeing the direct effects of great scouting. The guys at Ranchland have done their homework. I mean, we are right absolutely on the spot.
We've been very fortunate for the last 20-some years to have had very wet conditions on the prairies. When the prairies go through that dry cycle I've talked about, the boreal forest is really the continental buffer for waterfowl population. The birds that would have bred on the prairies move up to the boreal forest in those years. In these wet years we've seen the cost of repairing roads and infrastructure go up due to the flooding that happens due to wetland drainage. We need to find ways to compensate farmers for the value of those wetlands that they see as getting in the way of their bottom line.
Look at this pile up above us. Look at that. Would you look at that bunch? Just absolutely as big a wad as I could ever remember.
A good shot. What a cutting cat.
We're doing extensive research into the economic value of the ecological goods and services wetlands provide. That is, they provide flood control. We can save tax dollars that are going into infrastructure repair.
Certainly when you come to Canada, you understand why we have the ducks we have in North America, and both Ducks Unlimited and Ducks Unlimited Canada have been very, very important drivers of the habitat initiatives that have kept the ducks in the air, kept the water on the ground up here, and they'll continue to do that for the future.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting. Mossy Oak Shadow Grass Blades, the official camo of Ducks Unlimited, and Ducks Unlimited's Rescue Our Wetlands campaign, banding together for waterfowl.
What I love about Louisiana duck hunting is you're not going to shoot just one species of duck. Multiple species of duck means different shots, different challenging shots. One thing I love about pit hunting is because you're in the blind, you're close with your buddies, and I guarantee you there's going to be some guys riding on one another.
Oh, come on, guys. That's your job.
That was my six.
That was your job.
And as the morning wakes up, it starts right off the bat.
But they need you so bad I'd fire you, okay?
These guys are giving each other a hard time about everything.
Right here, coming in.
There you go.
Tony! Great shot.
Very nice.
Well,
You're done playing around, aren't you?
well, look, I get serious every now and then, okay?
Tony.
Yeah. Look, I got Mo, Harry, and Larry. I'm gonna see y'all go beep, 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 beep.
In 1973, Ducks Unlimited, on a whim, tried a project called the Shotgun of the Year and sold those at events around the country. It proved so successful that the program, as it's known today, was born. But in its inception, we did not keep any of the guns. We didn't hold them back to put in a museum or to display.
If we have the opportunity to turn a product into cash and put that cash to conservation, we do it, and we've done it that way for 80 years.
So all of a sudden we turn around and look at our history and we say, wow, here's this program that has generated more revenues for our event system than any other thing that we've done throughout the history of the organization, and we had nothing to show of it. So it became known as the DU White Whale. And you would hear about a collection in Wisconsin and it wouldn't pan out. You'd hear that somebody would have a collection in Florida and it wouldn't pan out. So years and years and years went by and this thing became a legend, it became lore. But lo and behold, there was somebody down in Sulphur, Louisiana who was working very hard to collect those guns, and it was Tony Palermo.
Ducks Unlimited got its start in 1937 during one of the worst droughts in history. It was a fitting time for the birth of an organization whose main focus would be wetlands and water. For more than 80 years, Ducks Unlimited has worked with countless partners to put wetlands and water on the landscape for the benefit of waterfowl and waterfowl hunters. Along the way, we have learned about the many other benefits that wetlands provide to wildlife and people. Wetlands are among the most productive ecosystems on Earth. They provide critical habitat for more than 900 wildlife species, not just ducks and geese. Wetlands filter impurities from our water and help provide clean and abundant water to a thirsty world. Wetlands trap and store floodwaters, helping to reduce the devastating effects of floods. In coastal areas, they can protect against storm surges. Wetlands are excellent places to recreate, whether you're hunting or fishing or just looking for a place to get close to wildlife and nature. When you become a member of Ducks Unlimited, when you attend a DU event in your area, when you volunteer on your DU local committee, you should feel good about the contributions you are making to the conservation of wetlands across North America. On behalf of the members, volunteers, and staff of Ducks Unlimited Canada, and Ducks Unlimited Mexico, thank you for everything you do. If you'd like to become part of Ducks Unlimited, go to ducks.org.
DU Insights is brought to you by Mossy Oak Properties. Find your favorite place at mossyoakproperties.com. DU TV is powered by Black Cloud Ammunition. Drop ducks like rain. Mossy Oak Properties, America's land specialist. Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. And Mossy Oak Bottomland, the official timber pattern of Ducks Unlimited.
I was born in Memphis. My dad went to Christian Brothers. My uncle, my cousins, they all went to MUS. So my ties to both schools were very strong.
There is so much to it, the rivalry between MUS and Christian Brothers. It's a rivalry that even other schools come to games to watch. And we just created another challenge. We started the DU rivalry.
Playing football in college, I knew there's a competitive drive when there's an end goal and there is a rivalry or a trophy at the end. I knew that would probably be a big key to our success.
Christian Brothers is going to bring back the Traveling Duck Call trophy. It's going to be on that purple and gold side. It's going to be sitting in our front office for white.
But it's still at MUS. The traveling trophies at MUS are just going to stay there.
It's just taking a vacation. It's just taking a little break.
So after watching these boys, that they're involved in the DU varsity chapters at their high schools as chairmen, and they just want what's best for conservation, and then beyond that, they want to be a part of this. They want to see it grow. They are going to be the next generation of Ducks Unlimited. Being a duck hunter, you have to know how to adapt. And Jimbo had another plan set up for us already, so after we left the timber, we actually came back to camp really quick, and we decided to go hunt a flooded rice field. We're seeing a bunch of birds flying. We're just hoping to get them to come in. And we're on Jimbo's property. He's been hunting here for how long?
About 11 years. So
11 years.
This is a special field.
Oh.
One coming in 12 o'clock.
He went down. So that's actually the first time I've got to shoot today. That felt pretty good. I'm just ready for some more.
Home state of Arkansas. So are you an Arkansas fan?
Yeah, I love the Razorbacks.
I'm an Ole Miss fan.
Boo.
And a Terrier.
Hail State.
I know.
Hail State.
Ole Miss, but you live in Tennessee?
Yeah, my
Why
wife
are you
went
not
to Ole
a
Miss.
Tennessee fan?
My wife went to Ole Miss, and man, Arkansas has Ole Miss's number.
Yes, they do. And I don't mind it.
What does that mean?
I'm anti-Ole Miss, from Mississippi State.
Oh.
My favorite team is from Mississippi State and anybody that plays Ole Miss.
As big of rivalry as these schools really are, as much as I play one of them off the other one and tell them that, hey, these guys are really kicked into high gear.
Jimbo Robinson, and he always takes the Christian Brothers side. He always does. He's like, oh, they're going to beat you this year.
It's really funny to hear them talk about how I love one school more than the other.
You're such a Christian Brothers kid.
Well, I think both of them tonight have said, I say that to him, and the other one's like, well, he says that to us.
Do you really? You use it on them too? Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I didn't think you did that.
Playing these two guys off of each other is what drives them on the varsity level.
That Drake fell pretty quick.
Drake, isn't it?
Beautiful greenhead there.
There we go.
But when they leave our varsity chapter program, they are DU leaders going into this university program, and they are seeking out leadership positions on our Ducks University program. And to me, that's what it's all about. I want to continue these guys in the right direction to being leaders, not only in Ducks Unlimited, but within our community.
Here's the duck hunting situation we're training for. Birds come in, you make the shot, the bird splashes down at the edge of this water, makes a big splash. You see it, the dog sees it. You know where the mark is. Yet the bird is only wounded and steals away to the corner of this water. But the dog does not see this. The dog goes to the original area. When we send him, he has to make the hunt, give him a little time to hunt, and then we have to cast him to our known location where the bird really is. This is how we train for it. We have Bruce and Tom are going to set out the memory while Sean pulls a little sneak, and we'll see how the bird actually moves. And we're going to create what is called a trailing memory. We're going to drop the bumper in this bit of weed right at the edge of the water. He's going to walk back while Sean picks up the bumper and tosses it to the marsh up on the upper end. This bird basically has swam away to a new location. Bruce makes a direct line, looks around, bird is gone. We make her stop, and a castaway. He works the bite line exactly as he should. Gets into the area where the bird actually is, and we make a recovery. At the end of the day, this is what it's all about, game recovery. Recovering birds that otherwise would be lost. It's a scenario that you need to train for because it's going to happen on the hunt.
Duck Dog with Mike Stewart is presented by Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. DUTV is brought to you by Native Nurseries, hand-selected, hand-grown plants for wildlife. Higdon Outdoors, quality, customer service, innovation. That's Higdon. Biologic, scientifically proven wildlife products. Intelligent firearms storage made by Secure It provides closed captioning for DUTV. The gun storage game will never be the same.
I have a special appreciation for Cal because I found out that he's a Vietnam veteran. My dad was a Vietnam veteran, and he was over in Vietnam the same time period that my dad was. Cal told us a story that was really cool. He brought out a letter that was written home from his uncle in World War II.
September 7th, 1944. Dear Eddie, received your second package today and certainly was glad to get it. Thanks a million. Yes, Ed, I remember when we were out on the point and used the number 2 shots on the ducks. That was a lot of fun. Remember out on the Claremont Harbor Wharf when we had the decoys out? You, Earl, and I.
Well, you know, duck hunting goes back in my family a long time with my father and my other relatives. And it's from my uncle, Cal Kingsmill, who I'm named after. And he's talking about duck season and the kind of decoys he's going to have for duck season.
He literally said carving is basically like therapy. And you can tell as soon as he swings that mount and that first chip flies off, he's in another world.
And when I was overseas in Vietnam, which really was a surprise to me, finding out that they had pintails in the rice paddies, you know. When I got back home, I had to break out my first bird book and find out what the range of a pintail was, and it did say Southeast Asia.
Good shot. Well, this morning we're hunting over about 44 or 45 hand-carved decoys.
Wow. How many hours in each decoy, roughly?
The most I've ever made in a year was like about 35.
35 in a year.
In a year.
There was well over a year's worth of work sitting in front of us to hunt ducks. Traditionally, when I look at a hand-carved decoy, it's sitting on a shelf and it's just one. You know, but here, they're floating in the water. We just shot ducks over them. Cal is an artist and he's a decoy carver, but bottom line, he's a duck hunter. He loves creating decoys that people will use.
Still my turn, listen. They might come back around again.
Take them. They were honest and fast.
Oh, you ain't lying.
My father had some old decoys that a fellow by the name of Charles Joe Fro made, who lived in the neighborhood here. We hunted with those decoys up until around 1970 is when Charles Frank came out with his book, Louisiana Duck Decoys. And when that book was published, we started looking at it, and sure enough, they had Charlie Joe Fro's decoys in there. So my father said, well, these are going to be valuable, are they valuable now? So we cut the strings off of them.
You know, it's funny when you make wood decoys and, you know, when you're picking them up after hunting, you look at them and say, most people would say, oh, this one's got a scratch. And I say, wow, man, that dent looks good. And it's starting to look good, you know, it's got some wear. You know, oh, it's got a little crack coming out here.
Yeah, that's right.
Starting to get a little character to it, you know.
Well, last night, y'all were going through each one and you're telling about, oh yeah, that's when it got hung up in the prop and you see the prop mark and every dent and nick has a story behind it. Yes, put it up on the shelf and admire it, but he wants you to put it in the boat, set it out in the water, and shoot ducks over it. These decoys are working hunting decoys. Cal spends countless hours creating these decoys that sell at auction at DU events.
Well, usually on the bottom of my decoys, I carve a CK in it. And also, some of the ones I donate for DU, you'll find a sketch of the species of the duck. If it's a gray duck or a gadwall, kind of dresses it up a little bit, puts a little extra flavor in it, you know.
And that money goes back into wetlands, just like the ones we've been hunting. And this is something that everyone gets to enjoy.
The degradation of the coastal Louisiana is hurting the migration. We got plenty of wetlands, we got plenty of water. We've got a lot of submerged aquatics. But across the coast, as my good friend Wade Bourne used to say, bless his soul, you know, more habitat on the ground means more ducks in the sky. We've got to connect this river back to this marsh. This river is what built this marsh. We'd have to manipulate it, and that's been part of my plan, is to manipulate it so we can get some water from Carnarvon, primarily water that's sediment laden. So once we build this project, we can continue to grow it. We've got to connect this river back to this marsh.
Ducks Unlimited TV never goes away completely. You can watch this season, plus classic episodes and bonus footage anytime on the DU website. Check us out at ducks.org. For all the volunteers and staff at Ducks Unlimited, for all our partners who make this series possible, thanks for watching, and see you next season on DU TV.
Intelligent Firearms Storage made by Secure It provides closed captioning for DU TV. The gun storage game will never be the same.